as a sun, I feel what you don't say. Scorpio moon, I see through the gray. I'm tuned to your soul, I read the unseen. 8th house mind, 12th house dreams. Tarot in my hands, planets in my sight. I decode the dark, turn shadow to light. Every chart's a mirror, every transit a sign. The past, the now, the future, all intertwined.
Hello, welcome. It is me, Danyell Carmelita, your favorite tarot reader and astrologer. We are talking about March 2026. March is not that soft, okay? We begin with Pisces and it seems like it's soft. However, we have a total lunar eclipse right at the beginning of it. Okay, Mercury's retrograding. That means we could be having some karmic conversations, a lot of redoing, repeating when it comes to words, but then there could be a little delulu and illusions with that. We end everything towards the month with Aries. We have a great spring equinox happening, but then we have the fiery energy coming, new beginnings first, very fast, very impulsive energy, very fiery. Did I say that? Represents identity. So there could be tests on your identity. A lot of Saturn energy. Everything when Aries, all the planets that enter Aries will be touching Saturn and Neptune. So this will be a very interesting. This month clears you before it launches you. If something leaves in March, it could be something that could be of a cleanse. If something begins, it means that it's going to be something that lasts a long lifetime, or something that really is about yourself. I have hair on my face. I mean, on my lips. Anyway, okay, so let's get started on the dates. Shall we? Here we have March 2nd, wait, let me see. When is this in? Okay, March 8th. Okay, March 2nd, we have Mars entering Pisces. Then we have the total lunar eclipse in March 3rd, on March 3rd. On March 5th, we have the sun over trine Jupiter. March 6th, we have Venus entering Aries. March 7th, Mercury will be retrograding in Pisces. It's going to conjunct the sun. That's a Cazimi. Then Venus in Aries is going to conjunct Neptune in Aries. That's what I was talking about. Everything that goes into Aries will be touching Saturn and Neptune. So this will be new for us. Okay. March 8th, we have Venus conjunct Saturn, conjunct Neptune and Saturn. Same thing. Mercury retrograding in Pisces is going to trine Jupiter. That is a great feeling there. On the 10th, also Mercury is retrograding said Jupiter. Okay, on the 10th of March, Jupiter is going to station direct. It is retrograding currently in the sign Cancer. March 13th, Mars is conjunct the North Node. On the 15th, Mars is conjunct Mercury retrograding. That will be very interesting. Okay, so anytime I say interesting, mark that date. March 18th, Venus is going to square Jupiter. And then we have the Pisces New Moon. On the 20th, happy solar return to all of my Aries. And Mercury will station direct in Pisces. That's great for a new spring equinox, for setting the new year for astrology, the astrological year. That's great. On the 21st of March, we have Mars is going to trine Jupiter, and on the 22nd, the Sun is going to conjunct Neptune because now it's in Aries. So again, it touches Neptune, then it will touch Saturn, and the Sun will also conjunct Saturn on the 25th, and then on the 30th, Venus will enter Taurus. Okay, I'm going to talk about it all. If you guys are new here, welcome. Please join the club, subscribe, like, do all your stuff as a follower, as a listener. If you guys are listening via podcast, hello, how are you doing? Okay. I'm going to pull some tarot at the end of the video. Hopefully, I have time to do all that. And yeah, I'm going to do another video on your horoscopes. This is just a monthly, not just, okay, we're not going to belittle this video. This one is about the collective, the energy. Not necessarily is it always about yourself, even though we always feel like it's about ourselves. But you know, like, you want to know, is going to Mexico going to be a safe trip? Okay. Is the mafia going to be acting up? This is things you want to know. So you want to know about the collective. It's very important. It does affect you. Okay. So we do have that. Now let's pull up the chart. And you know what? Oops, is the chart not shared? This is what. Oh, I restarted. That's what it was. Hold up. Let me add my chart to this. If you guys are listening, my chart wasn't on the screen, and now I want to add the chart to the screen. Here we go. All right, let's get started with the month of March. So, shall we? Okay. And how is everyone doing today? Yes. Oh, if you also too want more, you really love astrology. If you're like, oh my gosh, I listened to her February one, or everything is really resonating. I relate to this. I have a private community, right? Like everyone has this paywall. I do because I love conspiracies. Can't really talk about that in the open, so we got to talk about it in the back. But with this community, I also give them a heads up. They already have the schedule for March and the dates. I also have great dates for love, romance, socializing, party, making money, building a business, intellect, all that stuff. Okay. So all that is on my paywall. So go ahead and join that. Now let's talk about March 2nd. We have immediately, once the month opens, we have Mars entering the sign of Pisces. Okay. So you go from action, which was here, the intellect. Now you're moving into spiritual action. Okay. Mars is the planet of our drive, of conflict, of war, of motivation, aggression, and stamina. Pisces, it dissolves things, it blurs things, it makes things a little confusing. It is very compassionate. It can't really see clearly. Okay. It's very spiritual, a lot of escapism and a lot of healing. So it doesn't want to really deal with the problem. So when Mars enters Pisces, actions becomes more emotional, it becomes more intuitive instead of very strategic and forceful. It's not like a sharp sword. It is more like water, right? The weapon is water, and you're intuitive. Okay. So very passive, direct energy. It likes to avoid, it likes to deflect. As a collective or you individually, very spiritualized anger, emotional reactions, a lot of sensitivity, a lot of feeling guilty, a lot of empathy, a lot of fantasy. Spiritual and creative drive. People are more creative with art, poetry, music. This is the energy of giving, charity, compassion, and healing work. Escapism, again, a lot of procrastination, a lot of addiction patterns, a lot of self-sabotaging, a lot of playing the victim, a lot of emotional manipulation. This is also hidden anger. You have a lot of passive aggressive, martyr complex, emotional guilt. Globally, this could be something dealing with water, a lot of water events, things dealing with the ocean. Pisces is about the ocean. So covert military actions too is more hidden. This is the energy of secret enemies, so you can't see it coming kind of energy. Yeah, spiritual movements, also a lot of humanitarian efforts because people care about the collective and oneness, and there's no boundaries. Issues at the borders, okay, because there's no borders, so there's issues there. Okay, fighting with for vulnerability, inspire activism, compassionate courage, protecting the collective emotionally. Okay, now while Mars is in Pisces, I would say go ahead and hang around water. Unless it has a bad aspect, then go ahead. Don't act with emotion because you could be overwhelmed. Really follow your intuition. This is a great time for solitude. This is a great time for protecting your energy because it doesn't have the boundaries, and sometimes you take that on. And this is a great time to practice compassion, creativity, love, love, love. Also forgiveness and releasing. Yeah, and also sleep. Pay attention to the dreams. Okay, so that's what we have. Mars. Why don't I have Mars dates? What do I have for Mars? Okay. Oh, the rule. Okay. So Mars, while it's in Pisces, doesn't get much fire. Very interesting. Okay. Other than Mercury retrograding in Pisces. We will talk about the eclipse. It does have some relation with the eclipse here coming up. But for the most part, there's nothing really opposing unless you have personal planets in Virgo. Then you're going to be feeling Mars in Pisces. It's like, why do I don't feel motivated? I feel like I have a lot of lack in drive, or maybe you will be procrastinating if you have Virgo planets. If you have any planets in Gemini and Sagittarius, there's going to be challenges with everything that I discuss more on the negative side. Now, if you have personal planets in a water sign, so if you're a Scorpio or a Cancer, very positive whenever it's Pisces season, you're getting blessings. Now, if you are a Pisces yourself, this could be good or bad, but whatever it is, it will be strong. You will be feeling this. Okay. So you have that going on while Mars is in Pisces. Now, the ruler of Mars in Pisces is Jupiter. That's the traditional ruler. It's in Cancer, so it's still sensitive. There's a lot of feelings and sensitivity and emotions involved here. And also the modern ruler, Neptune, you have it in Aries. It's very aggressive, but it's very stable because it's sitting next to Saturn. So this is helping you hopefully build some momentum to do things. And when you're dealing conflict, just know there's some consequences too, because you have this Neptune sitting next to Saturn. So you have that, okay? Let me see what else we have. Let's talk about March 3rd, which we have the total lunar eclipse. I wish I could make my voice go in echo. The total lunar eclipse in Virgo. I'll talk about this more detailed, but what I see so far with this eclipse, should I do it exact? Let's do it exact. What did I just press here? Let's do it exactly what we have. This is a total lunar eclipse. If you see here, it's opposing the sun. It's in opposition. So there is opposition here. You can't see eye to eye. Female and male is clashing. You have feminine energy clashing with masculine energy. The mother and the father can't get along. The subconscious and the conscious can't see eye to eye. There needs to be a balance and harmony with these two things. So this is opposing this. Okay. Now, this axis that it's on, the Virgo Pisces energy, is very giving, is very sacrificing. It is the healing axis. It likes to take care of others before yourself. You may think some Virgos are selfish, but they are the ones that sacrifice a lot. They work really hard. They're the nurses and the doctors that you see and the healers. These things here. Now, you do have this being perfect, having detail, but it's dealing with your emotions, okay? So you're at home, you're being emotional, and you're very critical of yourself. And there needs to be a releasing. There needs to be a forgiveness of some sort happening on the opposite side, okay? Now, what I do see with this eclipse, anytime you have an eclipse, there is something that is going to be cut out. There also could be something of a death of a leader. This makes me think of someone being captured, which we had in Mexico. I haven't looked at Mexico's chart, but there is something that's hidden, and now there is a highlight to it. Whenever you have the sun and the moon involved, there's always like a highlight of some sorts. So someone is hidden and they're found, especially when you're dealing with that Pisces energy. But you have this conjunct the South Node. That means there is a releasing of something. It's also opposing Mercury, which is retrograding in the sign Pisces. Now, I want you to understand that whenever there's an eclipse, it doesn't normally happen the same day. This feeling could be happening already. So I'm kind of late with this video of the eclipse. I did not do justice this year with the eclipse. I was doing them like a week before. I shouldn't have done that. But I will do a video just alone on the eclipse. I'll probably be the next video that comes up. Anyway, but maybe not. Don't hold me to that. Okay. Anyway, but it's conjunct the South Node. So that means there is something that we're cutting off completely. There's some changes happening. There is a releasing of something. It's dealing with this energy of Virgo. So there is a releasing of perfection, a job. Maybe you finished your job. Your job is not the same. Your day-to-day routines have changed. You being of service of something, your health, there's something dealing with health here. Also, too, it's opposing Mercury, which is retrograding. So we have this energy of repeating, redoing. Mars is what I was talking about earlier. It's at 0 degrees. This is very interesting. We have this happening at the same time as we have this eclipse. That's very important. But this eclipse is also sextile Jupiter, that's in Cancer, and Jupiter, the moon is the ruler of Jupiter, so that's great. Jupiter is very positive. So if we put the work out there, this is a very positive eclipse. Okay, but this is something about purging, correcting the system, releasing the habit. Virgo is about systems, your health, your daily routines, your work environment, precision, control, criticism. Again, there's something connected to the past pattern, something that you're very comfortable with that needs to be released. There is something that's very outdated, maybe an outdated habit is at its release point. There's no emotional energy here. Virgo is very practical, not much as emotional. Could be a practical purging. South Node in Virgo is what's releasing, overworking, micromanaging, being perfect, anxiety, hyperfixation, having control. If I just fix everything kind of mentality. Yeah, just like being perfect, very analytical kind of energy. Now there's opposition to Mercury. It is, Virgo wants the facts, Pisces wants to feel, the truth. Okay, so Mercury retrograding in Pisces is going to blur the information. There's going to be emotional communication. There's hidden details that's surfacing, confusion before there's clarity. So if we were talking about the Mexican mafia and the leader being captured, then the details that were coming out were probably really foggy. I don't know. I'm just giving you an example of what this eclipse will represent. Because Mercury rules the eclipse as well, because the eclipse is in a sign Virgo, Mercury is over there retrograding. We are in the upside down world, okay? So a lot of miscommunication, a lot of misunderstanding, a lot of avoiding, a lot of romanticizing. This eclipse exposes your nervous system and it's overworking. Now that Mars at 0 degrees in Pisces, that's very raw, it's very true. Again, Mars in Pisces is very emotional, it's very spiritual, it's very passive aggressive, a lot of emotional energy and sensitivity. Pisces also represents spirituality and religion. So, a lot of discussions and a lot of visiting and arguing and fighting over religion and your beliefs. Okay. So, you do have that. I do want you to understand that all Pisces energy represents distraction and causing you to be in Delulu land. So it does represent things that are very hidden. And so you have the aliens, you have space, you have the world beyond, because it represents that subconscious and the sleep. But some things could be very like, this is an illusion. You're trying to set something up here. It's not true. I just want you to know that. But some people could feel very irritated, but unclear why, exhausted, emotionally reactive, drained. Again, this is very addictive behavior. So it could be very unstable and impulsive, and that's added to this eclipse here. But the Pisces is going to make it very subtle. It's not going to be loud. It's going to be behind closed doors. So you do have that. Now the sextile, the Jupiter, very soft, very protective, very reflective, because you are talking about the retrograde. The eclipse doesn't destroy here. It corrects. Maybe there's some compassion. This is also dealing with religion and philosophy. So just know that if you think positive, if you're optimistic, if you have the faith, whatever is happening with this eclipse is very positive. There's emotional wisdom, there's family healing, there's protective behind the scenes. The perspective is very widened because you have a broader, Jupiter broadens your horizons. So yeah, you do have that when you have this eclipse, okay? So Virgo is control, Pisces is surrendering. Maybe you need to release the control, okay? Yeah, collectively, this could be dealing with the health system. This could be dealing something with labor or workforce. Again, your job, your day-to-day work, anything dealing with data or corrections, exposing any type of procedures that are errors or something. Public narratives are being revised. Confusion around any type of data or information. Okay. Yeah, that's what we have. This is all about forgiveness. If you need me to go more about the eclipse, then I will. I will connect it to leaders and places and all that stuff. But we need to move on. So we will move on. If you guys have questions and you're here, I will happily answer them. Okay. So now we're talking about March 5th. Now the sun in Pisces is going to trine Jupiter. Now, then that means later on when Mars comes over here, it's going to trine Jupiter. So that's very positive too. If Mercury keeps retrograding back here, which it will, that will trine Jupiter. So a lot of planets are trining Jupiter. Jupiter is, we'll get into it. Okay. The sun trining Jupiter is going to highlight something dealing with law, ethics, something dealing with the world, something globally, themes, expansion, emotional expansion, spiritual protections. Both of these planets are in water signs that are both operating off of feelings, your memory, your intuition. There's growth and it's more internal. Again, this is not a masculine sign. These aren't masculine signs. These are very feminine signs. So everything is more about the subconscious, the inner work, not the outer work. Okay. Pisces sun. The sun is your identity and it's more compassionate and loving and creative. Cancer in Jupiter, there is growth and you're more protective and you're very nurturing. So these things are coming together in a very positive way. We don't have to do work. When you have a trine, God is like, here you go. It's just going to land on your lap, okay? So more trusting of your intuition, more emotionally open, more connected with your family, your ancestry, your past, the safety of your home, your physical home. You just feel more optimistic and there is clarity, but it's more with the feeling and your intuition. So your memory and healing, a lot of that and forgiving and releasing. There's a spiritual expansion. Could be getting some therapy, maybe through meditation and journaling or yoga, anything that deals with like the more Lulu kind of energy, not like actually like I'm writing it down, I'm measuring. No, it's not that. It's like just more feeling. I hope that makes sense. This is protective energy. This is creative flow. Again, if you're a writer, if you're a music artist, if you're poetry, very positive because you see Mercury is coming back. So you do have that feeling. Globally, there is an emotional response. Maybe there's more charitable acts. Yeah, anything dealing with religion and spirituality, there is something big here globally because that Jupiter does represent the world and global aspects. Okay, let me see what else. March 6th, then you have Venus will enter Aries. Okay. This is where it begins. This is where the story begins. Okay. Because all these planets that are in Pisces, and eventually Mercury will come easing on up. All these planets in Pisces will come into Aries. They will all be touching Neptune and Saturn in Aries. So this is new for us as a collective. Okay. Venus entering Aries is very soft, though. If we're talking about Venus alone, it leaves the soft energy. Now it's very bold and aggressive. This is very fast and love energy, okay? Very direct, very impulsive, very honest, very competitive. Yeah, and it's all about acting. So it's direct desire. It's like, I like you. I'm gonna pursue you. Very fast attraction, independent when it comes to relationships. You're excited. You want your personal space. Very competitive energy. You could be competitive when it comes to beauty, aesthetics, money, fashion, art, relationships, values. You could be more impulsive when it comes to spending. Your style could be very bold. It could represent really you, your authenticity. People assert their values loudly. Social media becomes more confrontational. You're at a party and you're very impulsive. Venus represents a party. A lot of risk when it comes to love and money. But be aware of any jealousy, impatientness, or love being more of a conquest. Like once you got them, then you're like, I'm over it. Collectively, when you have Venus, you are talking about big social events, and it's very Aries. That's very aggressive, very bold. So be aware of that. Even branding could be a little bold, very impulsive kind of energy. Now, while Venus is in Aries, Venus will again conjunct Neptune. It's going to conjunct Saturn, and then later it will conjunct Chiron. And then what else do we have here in my notes? Yeah. Oh, that's all. Oh, but also too, it's going to square Jupiter. Did I not write that in my notes? I think that's more because it's a cardinal sign. So Jupiter and Venus squaring may not be that bad. They're both very positive, but it could expand something that's dealing with your harmony and balance and relationships. Okay. So Venus conjunct this Neptune and Saturn here. First of all, Venus, again, I told you in Aries, very fast, very impulsive, very bold when it comes to love. But now there's a reality check. Now there's a lot of fantasy. Like you had this cloudy judgment with a relationship, but there's a reality towards it. This could be dealing with finances, and now there is consequences when you tend to spend money on romance or something very creative or a charity or even escapism, anything that's dealing with escapism. Now it's time to sober up. Venus rules money. This combo means stop fantasizing, get disciplined. There is karma here. Relationships become a little bit mature. Okay. But when you have it conjunct Neptune, it's mature, but it's like, oh, but I'm so in love with him. Maybe you're in love with an older man and it's like only you see it because it's a little delulu. Just be aware of that. Venus squaring that Jupiter, you still have it sitting next to this Neptune and Saturn. So everything that I just said, also this over giving, or maybe this over promising, or maybe you're emotionally spending, or maybe there's something dealing with a family or a partner and it's a conflict. I feel everything a little too much. There's too much sensitivity, a lot of drama with the finances, but it's a lot of crying kind of energy. Yeah, so be aware of that. Now, March 17th is when it will start. So around when it's 14 degrees is when it will start to conjunct Chiron. Chiron is the wounded healer. Healing the self more is what you get. Chiron in Aries is the wounding, having a wound over your identity, not feeling chosen. You feel rejected. You feel like you have to fight. in some sort. And Venus hitting that could be dealing with some type of relationship versus yourself, some insecurity exposed, something dealing with finances and healing of yourself. It made me think of the Jill Scott album, which I love, her new album. I don't know if you guys know anything about it. And she talks about finances and how you could be buying things just to heal some, but not dealing with your trauma. So it makes me think of that. Insecurity could be exposed, abandoned triggers, real conversations about your self worth. Venus is about your self worth and what you value. And now you have to heal yourself. Could be very aggressive, could be very fast, be very vulnerable, could be very choosing yourself, could be healing through honesty, loving without shrinking that true self. Listen, anytime you have a planet touching another planet, okay, it's very strong. Now, is it good or bad? That I can't determine. Okay. Whenever there's a conjunction, because that's what it means when it touches each other, just know that it's very strong. Now, Venus in Aries is going to affect. Did I talk about Mars? Yeah, I talked about. Okay. So, Venus in Aries is going to affect all my Libras. If you have personal planets in any Libra signs, and it will be going touching all the Libra signs, just know it's going to affect you. There's an opposition versus aesthetics or impulsivity or versus the relationship and inner harmony. All that's going to be an issue. Okay. And Venus is ruling your Libra energy. So if it's touching these planets at the same time, that's going to affect whatever it's touching. Okay. So I hope I didn't confuse you. Now, also, too, so you can't see eye to eye any Libra placements. Okay. Libra rising, sun, moon, Mercury, all that. Now, also, it's going to affect all of my cardinal signs. So any Cancer placements, any Capricorns, did I say all Libras? This is not going to be the best for you. Venus in Aries, because there is a challenge and it could be a new challenge happening for you as well. And then any of my fire signs, this is a blessing. Sagittarius placements, blessings for you. Okay. Leo placements, blessings for you. There is going to be something with harmony and relationships and finances that's going to really work out while Venus is in Aries. Collectively, there could be some bold breakups, some new type of breakups, a new type of relationship that we can see publicly. Financial market is very fast, moving fast, or something new financially could be happening. Women could be very assertive because Venus does represent women. Public exposure on some type of romance, and there's an illusion because we have the government, Saturn, and then we have, which is also restrictions, and we have Neptune and love. Conversations about being independent too. Are being independent within a relationship. That could be happening too. Okay, so March 7th, we're still at the beginning of the month. I have to move faster. I might be getting a little too detailed. But anyway, on March 7th, we have Mercury. Where's my Mercury? It's retrograding. It's conjunct a sign. That is a Cazimi. And then we have Venus actually touching Neptune 101. Okay, so again, that conjunction with Venus, this is about in love and being idealistic with love. Okay, but this Cazimi is clarity. Clarity. So I like this. There's sudden realizations, there's important messages, there's the confusions, intuition, intuitively, you know this. The truth is surfacing. It's like now I understand. This also could represent any major announcement around the world or publicly, and it could be dealing with any Pisces themes. So it could be dealing with drugs. It could be dealing with things that are very secretive. I think of Epstein, any addictions, things that are behind the closed door, in the closet, the skeletons in the closet, addictions, closing, forgiveness, healing, drugs. I don't know if I'm getting repetitive. Feet. There could be some type of announcement with that, okay? That Venus conjunct Neptune, again, this is about money. This is about fantasy. This is about beauty. This is about your projection on beauty or idolizing someone who you consider really beautiful. It's very fast. It's very risky. Just know that, okay? When we have the Cazimi and we have the Venus sitting next to Neptune, you'll finally see the truth, maybe with a lot of romances, but your heart still wants maybe the fantasy. But there will be some awareness, even when it comes to finances. There could be some impulsive spending, but there is going to be something that you are going to see that you're addicted to. Maybe the spending and money. Confessions of a relationship problem too could be happening. So, yeah, get ready for that on the 7th. And Mercury Mercury having a cazimi with the sun is that actual day. It's not leading up. The cazimi is that actual day, March 7th. So you mark your calendars for that. On March 8th, then Venus is conjunct. Let me see. Now Venus is conjunct Neptune. So everything I said before, Neptune is about dreams. Saturn is about a test. So all that could be testing a relationship. Saturn is a reality check. It's emotional restraint. There's some cold truths. There's commitment pressures, financial limits, being realistic about your finances, responsibility when it comes to your finances. I said before that Saturn and Neptune in the sign Aries and them sitting close together, the people who are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, now you are going to have a consequence. And I've seen this online, like all these people who are like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I consider them cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? There's a consequence. And you see them having a consequence. So you have that. Now Venus is added to this. So it brings some harmony and balance, or maybe there's a consequence for the people who are cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. When it comes to relationships, that could be a thing too. Falling fast and hitting reality. Commitment conversations immediately. Testing your loyalty. Facing the red flags early. Solidifying something real. If it's illusions, there's going to crack. If it's solid, it's going to strengthen. Again, Venus deals with money, child. Okay, money is ever flowing. It is not something you just hold on to. It is an energy that comes and goes. Okay, so when you have it sitting next to Neptune, you could be losing it. But then Saturn is going to make it grounded or make you have a long term consequence on you losing that. So be aware of that. Let me see what else we have here. I said Venus conjunct Mercury retrograding. There is a Kazemi here. Is this the next day? Same day, kind of. There's a Kazemi here finally with Jupiter. Again, this is a lot of healing. Talking about healing, protective energy of the past, emotional wisdom, family conversation, spiritual insight. Something from the past is redoing, is repeating, and now it's really coming back up. It's very positive. You're going to feel it. There could be emotions, but they're positive emotions. You know how you cry and you're happy cry? This could be representing something like a closure from your past, releasing the past, forgiveness of your past, something hidden from your past, and it's discussed. The secrets are out, and it's very positive. Because when you have that Kazemi too, the Kazemi is trying Jupiter. So this could be something globally because Jupiter represents the world, global. Could be something dealing with higher learning, could be dealing with law, could be dealing with faith, but it's very expansive, very positive. Relationships, new shifting, public accountability, financial tightening narratives, emotional speeches, happening globally around the world too. Now let's see what we have for March 10th. Jupiter will stop retrograding. Why? Okay, here it is. March 10th, Jupiter stops retrograding. So now it starts to be very direct. It is going to expand a lot of things. When it's retrograding, sometimes it may not expand things. Sometimes the good luck is out. Now the good luck is back. There's emotional growth moving forward. The belief system shifts, expansion changes direction, confidence. It changes its shift, and there's growth. Now there is abundance that happens. Okay, and this is dealing with family patterns. This is something dealing with healing your ancestral wounds, quiet emotional growth. Yeah, a lot of things with that. I'll get more on that, but Jupiter in Cancer is very protective. So all that, you feel more protected when it goes direct. Okay, now on March 13th, and now we're getting the middle of the month. We have Mars in the sign Pisces, and it's conjunct the North Node. This is what you're supposed to do. This is your destiny. And now it's emotional, but Mars is active. It's your drive. It gives conflict. It's working on instinct. The North Node is your karmic direction, your future path. And now there's intuition. There is something that's going to come and say you're meant to do this that day. Okay, action on intuitive energy, fated action, spiritual courage, emotional impulse. Something from your past life is coming back up, but this is karma. So yeah, very positive. But just be aware of escapism and you trying to avoid what you're meant to do. Are you trying to be overly sensitive? Mars then on the 15th of March, Mars will then conjunct Mercury, which is retrograding. This is where things get a little foggy. This is when you're acting before you're thinking, you're speaking only from emotion. There is no clarity. Old arguments could be resurfacing around this time. Now, as it gets closer, there could be some issues with that. So it's before it hits this. There's some time before where it's like everyone's acting overly sensitive. Let's see when it starts, actually. This kind of starts. I give everything like a 10-degree orb. So it kind of starts March 8th, okay? So around March 8th, not let's not count the Kazemi, but around March 8th, people are a little bit like overly sensitive. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing these things? Why are you passive aggressive? Why are you not holding in the secret that I told you to hold in? Okay. Words feel charged. People react instead of responding. Conversations from the past return with intensity. Anything that you're trying to achieve and you're trying to move forward, there's going to be some issues with words, and this could be or any form of communication around this time. So this could be something dealing with emails. Mercury represents day-to-day travel. There could be a conflict, a car accident. This is more boat and water or getting lost while you're traveling. So be careful of paying attention to all the details of things, but this very irritability kind of energy, but emotion is there. So it's like you're irritable and you're crying. This is very PMS energy, okay? Mercury also represents commerce. So represents if you buy something, and let's say you buy something and a policy is bad or it's shady, or when you're buying something, you get into a fight. Be aware of that. So online arguments, controversial statements, information leaks, emotional media narratives, digital confusion. Also, this is a prank gone bad, and a prank could be dealing something with something that's hidden or a secret, or something that's more of an illusion, and you're trying to make this prank and it doesn't go really good. Okay. Also could be a lot of gaslighting and people playing victim. Just be ready for that. Mars conjunct Mercury is usually like the action and thinking works together, but because Mercury is retrograding, just be aware of the negativities, more of the positivities, but positive wise, the intuition and logic, and the intuition and you trying to pursue something in a very creative way, very positive. Okay. With that now, and then Mercury after that will sit there towards the North Node. All this is before the actual day on March 17th. So again, like March 7th is when you will really feel this. This is you really trying to pursue what you're meant to do, this destiny. I just did a reading, actually, a tarot reading on what you're meant to do. So go ahead and check that out. But Mercury is the thoughts, right? And now it's added on to your destiny. So thoughts, communication, contracts, information. You may get an email and it's like, oh, this was destined. Oh my gosh. I was like, should I do this for the future? Is this my future path? What is my direction in life? And now you got that email that just pops up. Or someone says, I want to pray for you, and or someone says you need to heal or release. All that is supposed to help you for your future. Okay, so it's a great time for forgiving, but a lot of deep conversations that's meant to be, a lot of karmic revisions, a lot of intuitive downloads, a lot of the illusion test. Okay, so Pisces likes to blur things, so be cautious of any type of like fake pastor telling you this is what you're meant to do. Remember, I told you conjunctions are good or bad. Okay. Let me see. March 18th, Venus is now over there squaring Jupiter. It's like, oh my gosh, I thought it was all good. In the hood, it's not. Okay. So you could be over exerted with love. It's like, oh my gosh, you're doing too much. You're moving too fast. Again, this could be spending a lot of money. This could be issues with the self versus the family, or your relationship or your new relationship versus your family. Emotional, dramatic energy. Yeah, collectively, public spending and having debates over that. It's like that. Yeah, like publicly, people are trying to get you to spend a lot of money. This also could represent nationalism, and it's effing up your flow. Okay, so that could be a possibility too. Also, we have the new moon in Pisces. Should we get the exact new moon? The new moon is January, February, March. April 18th. Here's the new moon exactly. Ooh, 28 degrees. Okay, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Ooh, it's representing the home. Something from your past is new moon, but every time you have a new moon, it represents a new start. This is a great time to manifest. This is when you start something, and a theme is dealing with Pisces, but it's also dealing with something of the past in the home. Okay, now this new moon is going to sextile Uranus sitting there. So, something unexpected, something very out of the box. This is a spiritual reset, practical innovation, planting new seeds. Pisces is about releasing and forgiving of the past. Uranus is going to shake things up and cause a change. Surrendering, intuitive, creativity, closure, escapism. All that is about releasing and starting new and trusting the unseen, really going off of your intuition and God and spirituality and starting with that. And Uranus and Taurus is about, first of all, Taurus represents the money and what you value and stability and physical resources and your land and physical security. So there's something new to that with the spiritual element added to. So it could be a quiet breakthrough, financial, intuitive energy, emotional detachment from the material fear. Like, you didn't want to change, but guess what? The change actually works. Yeah, but this could be something with crypto. This could be dealing with, again, all this Pisces energy is representing Muslims and Jewish and all that stuff we don't want to mention, but I just want you to know it's some newness with that. So let's see what happens with this new moon with that, and it's dealing with the homeland, child. Ooh. That could be positive for them and negative for us, but it is what it is. Focus on yourself and positivity. Now we have on March 20th, let me remove this. March 20th, this is when we have the spring equinox. When you have the spring equinox, this is really the new year. When are y'all going to see this? Capricorn season, new year is not really the same, and it hits different. Aries spring equinox is really about starting the newness. Okay, it's really about being impulsive, being brave, starting something new, really focusing on the self. Aries season is a true energetic reset. This is where the zodiac starts. This is where the fire and desire, I can't even sing the song. Oh, anyway, but the fog clears. It's gone. And now it's all about you and your fresh start and brave energy. So identity activation, the ego, the confidence, the life force. It's very bold. It's very direct. It's very independent. It's very competitive. It wants to start. It's really about the I am, action over reflection, leadership energy, impulsive energy too, very temper, very impatient, a lot of anger, a lot of rash decisions, a lot of not afraid to confront people kind of energy. Collectively, we're going to have some bold announcements. A lot of political leaders. Aries represents leaders, so a lot of things with leaders. If you was tired of Trump, well, here we go. Now the sun is in Aries. He's just going to be more fired up, okay? Because not only that, he has Leo placements, and Aries placements works with Leo placements. So he's just going to be living his best life, okay? But a lot of military themes too when you have Aries energy, leadership shakeups, people being very assertive collectively. Now it's going to conjunct Neptune and Saturn. So the identity will be tested. Belief meets reality. Ego meets consequences. If you're moving too fast, if you're being too aggressive, there's going to be some consequences, okay? Vision must be structured. Confidence gets discipline. Courage with discipline, no. What you want to build will work long term, okay? Especially if it's built out of compassion and it's very creative and you're really following your intuition and you're taking control of the narrative. Now, things that I saw while the sun is in Aries. First of all, we already talked about once the spring equinox is going to be touching Neptune and Saturn immediately. And again, Neptune is illusions and fog and compassion. So you have all that. Be careful of not trying a new drug. Aries also represents the body, and I talked about Ozempic and people being secretive about Ozempic. Well, Saturn makes you have a realistic thing about that, or maybe there's some long-term consequences if you are taking anything new or something that you don't know about. Just want you to know that. March 25th, though, you do have that the sun in Aries is going to sextile Pluto. I'm very positive when it comes to communication and thinking outside of the box and reinventing yourself and being very strategic. But you got to use the energy. And this is very influence kind of energy, like someone who's on the internet doing stuff. Okay. Then Jupiter will be involved. Jupiter in Aries, it's going to be a clash. You could be overconfident. You could be, again, tensions with your family versus yourself, the ego versus security, a lot of risk taken, but it's very emotional. Okay. Now, March 28th, the sun will then quincunx. It would sit next to, it would quincunx. I can't think right. The south node in Virgo. So you will have this energy, and this is something that's going to make you feel uncomfortable with your ego because you're not releasing something. Okay. So, needing to simplify, tired of overfixing, irritated by some responsibilities makes you uncomfortable. April 1st, though, is when you will have the new moon, the full moon in Libra. So, the moon will be over here April 1st. And again, it won't see eye to eye with yourself in relationships or partnerships. Relationships, truths could be revealed. There could be an imbalance happening here. We'll talk about the new moon as it gets closer. The full moon in Libra as it gets closer. Also, to April 5th, the sun will start to conjunct Chiron. Again, this is a lot of healing of the self. All that drama you had with everything else, now it is about releasing, forgiving, and really healing yourself. And a little bit selfishness, but sometimes you got to be selfish when you want some healing. Also, too, around that time, Mercury starts to go direct. Let me see. Where's Mercury? Where's my Mercury? Oh, here it is. Yeah. Oh, that same day, March 20th, back to March. So we finished talking about the sun in Aries, but back to March. Sun gets direct. Is still dealing with some karmic here. What is your destiny here? But once it goes direct, it's like, yay. Kind of like a yay, because your intuition is working better than ever, but people are able to hold secrets. So if you want to get the secrets out now, then but what confuses you starts to guide you. What you feel, any misunderstandings, conversations, things that are hidden, you can kind of tell that it's hidden. Things still a little foggy. Mercury in Pisces is not the best. Mercury does not like being in Pisces because Mercury is, Mercury, the ruler of Mercury is Virgo. Virgo is the opposite of Pisces. It likes to be very like on point. Pisces doesn't like to be on point. So you still have a little Delulu energy. I say when Mercury leaves Pisces is when a blessing starts to happen. But a lot of confusion maybe will get lifted, or will be the opposite. Maybe it will be more confused. Okay. Because Mercury in Pisces, it just causes the confusions, a lot of misinterpretations, emotional fog. But you know what will probably get a little bit better though? People being sensitive, they might get a little bit better. Okay. Yeah, but a lot of releasing and forgiving. If someone didn't forgive you then, they might forgive you now that it's moving forward. Okay. Now, Mars on the 21st, Mars will trine Jupiter. Now, this is great. This is everything you're trying to do. You can overpromise this time because now you can do it all. You can do it all. Very optimistic energy, emotional courage, protective, expansive energy, very compassionate, very surrendering, um, inspired action, protective energy. I probably said that twice. Protective energy, emotional healing through action. Like you putting in the work and it works. Spiritual momentum, yeah, very positive. I love this. It's like everything that you're physically trying to do, it can work out. If you're fantasizing and the fantasy is like, I'm gonna have the greatest body ever. There's momentum towards that because that Pisces is a little illusion there, but Jupiter is like, you know what, we can make this work. This is very optimistic. Okay, very positive there. And this is going to work with all my Cancer sign. All my water signs. So Cancers, Pisces, Scorpios. Oh, y'all gonna get it. Okay, so March is pretty good for you guys. Now on the 22nd of March, though, that's when we have the sun sitting next to Saturn, closer to Saturn. And also, too, you have Mercury back sitting next to that North Node where we talked about the destiny already. But when the sun is sitting next to Neptune, and sitting next to Saturn, I'm pretty sure I talked about this. This is your ego, right? And now it has long-term consequences. Could be very like you're a little lost with your identity kind of energy. The ego has a delulu kind of energy. There could be some confusion when it comes to yourself or any type of leadership. Collectively and individually, that's what that Neptune offers, but that Saturn makes it more realistic and it grounds the energy. Saturn sitting next to Neptune is really positive because it makes the dreams a reality, right? That bubble that you're in, that bubble that you're trying to not do, you see the consequences and you're like, oh, I need to not be in this bubble. So it grounds all the spiritual elements, and those two things need each other. So I find it positive. Now the sun is going to highlight this stuff. Now, if we're talking about collectively, Saturn does represent the government. Neptune represents religious. So any type of religious government, there's something that's going to be brought to the light. It's going to be something new, something that just starts. This is a well, we won't do the degrees, but just know that Saturn also represents any type of not government, but anyone that's limiting, like authority figure, father figure, mentor, or also represents someone in like a uniform. So there could be something there, but there's some kind of compassion towards them. So let's see how that plays out. And again, I talked about Mercury in the destiny and having these conversations or having these emails or text messages, they come to the forefront. Or maybe you find something on social media and you're like, this is what I'm meant to do. That could be happening as well. March 25th, I already talked about the sun. That's when the sun will officially hit 4 degrees and officially hit Saturn. And this is where all the self doubting and feeling tested. Saturn also represents negativity and pessimism. So you do have that with that Neptune sitting next to it too. Just try not to deflate the ego here. Let's be more positive and think long term. And just know that everything is going to take longer than what you want it to be, because Saturn does represent delays, but it is the lesson. It is the father figure. And if you learn a lesson with Saturn, then everything is very positive. So you could have some accountability and being responsible energy, but when you have it sitting next to Neptune, it could be love and compassion and creativity. So works out very positive if you change it to positivity. Okay, we'll get into that more detail as I do the weekly. And then the last day we have Venus that will enter on the 30th of March. Venus will enter Taurus. Venus is the ruler of Taurus, and boy, talk about laziness. Okay, whenever Venus in Taurus, the collective is lazy. So that's why when you have the spring equinox, it's really about do, 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 do. Venus is where you want to lay on the couch and binge watching, sure, but you want to eat fast food. You want to eat all the cake, the best chocolate. You might be overspending, but you're spending when you want to feel comfortable and cozy, and you're spending on all the senses, so you're buying all the best perfumes. Be careful with Venus in Taurus. Okay, Venus rules love, money, beauty, self-worth, and pleasure. And when it's in Taurus, you are talking about your finances. Okay, security in relationships, financial focus, sensory pleasuring. This is going to the spa and overspending, but a lot of self-worth, and you're resetting it. Could be stubborn in a relationship, could be staying at home for comfort instead of love, could be having a lot of materialism. There could be overindulging, again, laziness. The positive is loyal partnerships, having a slow build when it comes to romance, investing wisely, having financial discipline, knowing your worth, and being really focused more on the quality of things with beauty and not just like the saturation of things with beauty. Okay, collectively, this is dealing with all the luxury departments, like I said, the spa, the skincare, and all that stuff. That would be a big thing. Also to finances, the banks, major focus on banking and economics with this placement. What did I see? The ruler, Venus in Taurus is going to be ruler of that April 1st, a Libra full moon when I talked about, and it's going to be in Taurus. Again, major comfort when we have that Libra full moon. Be ready for that. I'll talk about that later. Once it enters Taurus, there is going to be a square towards Pluto. So this is power dynamics, jealousy, control issues, obsession, financial manipulation, sudden endings. Yeah, social networks. This is social media and you're overspending. Are you really obsessed with someone on social media? This could be a group, and there's some power dynamics when it comes to partying or a collective influence. Yeah, this one is to watch out. When Venus enters Taurus, we need to watch out. Okay, I will remind you. But this could be some money and some secrets involved here too, online. And then Venus will sextile Jupiter. That's very positive. As it keeps going, there's abundance, something dealing with law, forgiveness, releasing. Very positive with that. But Venus will start to conjunct Uranus around April 14th. And this is really being like, I want to be polyamorous. I can't even say the word, but I don't want to have the basic relationship. I want to do something different. Sudden breakups, sudden commitments, financial surprises. This is the market, a financial market, and there's some chaos with that. Okay, so be aware. This is around April 14th. Unexpected attraction, changing what you value as well. So that is what we have for March. I'm going to pull some cards. Let's see what we have. Oh, we'll do Oracle. Okay. So what do we have for the collective in March? For the collective, I'm going to pull a few cards. Okay. Oh, we'll do some sign. No, yeah, okay. We'll do it by signs. And then so we'll do earth signs, we'll do water signs, we'll do fire signs, okay? So first we'll do all of my water signs cuz I have a Cancer sun and a Scorpio moon. I love water signs, okay? So Cancers, Scorpios, Pisces. In the month of March, what do we have here? Get in touch with your body. Okay. It's a great time to work out in March. This is a great time to figure out your health in March. This is a great time to cleanse that mental energy. If you have anxiety, figure it the F out. Okay. It's about releasing, forgiving, eating healthy, having some healthy routines. Okay. In the month of March, you're going to focus on your physical body and your mental body, spiritually and physically. Okay. So that is what we have for the water signs. And now for the fire signs, these are all my Leos, my Aries, and my Sagittarius. The ship has sailed. End it, release it, forgive. End it, release it, forgive. Now, this could be if you're in a relationship. Let the relationship go. It's done, child. Okay. You just hold on to that, release it, forgive, let it go. Okay. This could be a scenario, a situation, a friendship, and you're not forgiving the person. You're not healing. You're not releasing. You're just carrying that baggage. This is release it. The ship has sailed. You still holding on. All right. And you're going to sink with that water. Now, this is for all my air signs, Libras, Geminis, and Aquarius. Healthy boundaries, ooh, especially around that Pisces season, right? And now the Aries maybe will set the boundaries with that Neptune. Anyway, set some boundaries, you guys. Physical boundaries, emotional boundaries, mental boundaries. Okay, so if you say, I don't like it when you say that, well, that's called a boundary. Okay, if you say I'm not going to do that, that's called a boundary. If you decide for someone not to touch you, that's called a boundary. So set some healthy boundaries. If you don't know what healthy boundaries are, look it up and maybe I'll do a video on that. Okay. Who do we have left? I did fire, I did water, I did air, earth. I am so sorry, Earth. That is so shady. Virgos, Taurus, Capricorns. It's time for you to disconnect. Wait, do we have two? Oh, we got two cards for you. It's disconnect and be gentle. Okay. I feel like this is someone who's being passive aggressive. Okay, they're disconnecting from the gentleness. You guys need to be a little bit nicer. Also, too, this makes me think of disconnecting and being more gentle to yourself. Disconnect from others. Seek solitude and really love yourself during March. Now, what do we have for the collective? In the month of March, you're going to see a lot of people focusing on their dreams that they were holding in. And then lastly, a lot of rehabilitation, a lot of people healing themselves, changing, reset, addiction, going in, taking care of the addiction and changing. Okay. Yeah, so that is what we have. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys next time. It will either be pick a card for March or it will be the horoscopes. Let's see what comes first. Or maybe I would do, I do whatever I feel. I'm not getting paid around this big. I can do whatever I want. So let's see. But maybe those things. But I love conspiracy theories. I like looking at current events. I might be tying the vibe in the sky with that too. You never know. All right. If you want more, click the link, subscribe, and also you guys comment, share, do all this stuff to help me grow my business. All right. I will see you next time. Bye.
Bye bye.